Welcome back, everyone, to our Making It Fun Career Mode series in NASCAR Heat 3. So our last couple of races have been a bit of a mixed bag, and just go to show you how different things can be with the same strength car from track to track. We had a great, thrilling victory in Chicago that we were able to get, even though we didn't quite have the speed to be the victor in that particular race. But then we go to Kentucky, and still a 1.5 mile track, but we were greatly overmatched both in terms of the speed of the car as well as in the setup. So we needed a whole lot of help there in order to be a lot more competitive. But the good news for us, if we come into season status and we go to standings, we're going to switch out of the dirt tour because we're not really concerned with the dirt tour right now. And then we're going to toggle into the playoff standings for the trucks. We now sit just inside the top 8. We are now 7th. So the good news for us is, of course, we have the victory. So that's what it's enabled us to get to this point. But then you also take a look at the points between us and Harrison Burton. We have a nice points lead over him. So as long as we still continue to try to rack up points during each of the 2 stages and then get a great finish, we should be perfectly fine to make the playoffs. But it is by no means a certainty that we could do just that. If somebody who's ahead of us in points, such as John Hunter Nemechek or Noah Gragson, they get a victory, we're in serious trouble. So we have to keep that in mind. So we're by no means safe into the playoffs. So we'll come back out and taking a quick look at the schedule, swap the series over. So we're headed next to Eldora. Now that's going to be interesting. I've not really spent a ton of time working on a setup for NASCAR Heat 3 at Eldora in the trucks. So that's going to be a lot of fun and very interesting to see how well we can do there. But then after that, we move on to Pocono and Michigan. That's 2 places where all-out speed. We're going to be running wide open at Michigan, and then at Pocono, you're going to be very close to wide open there as well, and extremely fast through the corners in these trucks. So with that in mind, we're going to need all of the speed we can get in order to be competitive at those tracks coming up. And then not too long after that, the round of 8, the first round of the playoffs, will get started. So a lot of exciting races coming up for us. Let's go ahead and move on to our Las Vegas dirt track race using our owner mode and not actually racing this particular race. And this could be really good for us because we are so close to having enough money to upgrade one of our 3 components in our car from 90 to 95. So if we can make enough money at this race, I believe we can make it happen. So let's go ahead and adjust our work plan. We're past the point of really doing a lot of improvements to this car because it seems like the results you get whenever you're simulating a race are just way too random. It doesn't seem to take very much, if any, account of how strong your car is and stuff. So we're not going to worry too much more about that. All right, Vegas is a short track, so we're going to load up our short track chassis. And we are going to get Williams started on that. And then Aero, we're going to put Wendy on that. And then finally our suspension, we're going to put Hector on that one. And then after that, our next race coming up will be at Richmond, which is a normal track. So let's go ahead and get that one started as well. Jake will take care of the engine, Stella on Aero, and then Andrew will take care of our suspension. Let's go ahead and start that work plan. Okay, so now short track chassis, 99, 96, and 97. Excellent. That's not far from the very best we could get it without spending a whole lot of extra money on this. All right, so let's go ahead and simulate this race and hope for good results. We're going to use, of course, the short track chassis, and what do we get? 8th. Okay, well, it was a top 10. So, and we got, most importantly, 11,775. So that is a nice amount of money. Let's see what kind of Twitter feedback we get. Okay, so it seems like this is also very random. Either that or it's just alternating. One race you simulate, you get good results, good feedback. The next one you get terrible. So not a fan of this. I've mentioned that before, so I won't harp on it again, but I'm just not a fan of of that. My personal opinion is that if you simulate a race, there should be no message feed, no Twitter feed after the race for feedback, because you didn't race the race. So that makes sense to me, but apparently it didn't necessarily make sense to be that way with the developers. So now we're back to the truck series. We have $97,604, which is huge, because that, I believe, is going to be enough money for us to do our next upgrade. So let's go ahead and prepare for the race. And before we get into the work plan itself and anything along those lines, let's come into improve equipment. And obviously we've got 3 options here. Okay, you see it's going to cost us $90,000. We're perfectly fine on money. We could go engine, aero, or suspension. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go aero. And the reason for that is because aero actually helps us out with top end speed, and it also helps us out with grip. So it's a little bit of both. Now, how much does it affect both? I don't know. But it does affect both because we get a little bit better drag numbers. That's going to help us on the straightaways. And then we get a little bit more grip from downforce, extra downforce and or side force. And that's going to help us in the corner. So a little bit of both. And I think that is going to be pretty awesome. So let's go ahead and get that. That's going to leave us with $7,600. And it's also going to mean that we need to do some work on aero. Let's see what we can do with training. Okay, so we can get him up to 9. That's perfectly fine. That is what we want, and that spends our money for now. And that's what we want. We want to max out our car as best we can, given the funds we have available. So our short track chassis, let's go ahead and get Jillian started on the engine. And then we're going to go, let's see, what do we want to do here? Let's go ahead. Man, I'm tempted to just do this and leave Harrison on the other car. But I tell you what, let's go ahead and get our maximum of 95 on this. And then we can always go about this a little different way next time. So we'll have a little extra money to spend next time. Maybe we can do some more upgrades on our employee training. So here we're going to put Mark on the suspension. And then we know our next 2 races are going to be Speedway, so we need to pick out one of our Speedway chassis. And we'll get started on it. Okay, that uses up all of our employees for now. And I think we are in good shape. Let's take another quick glance at it. Short track chassis is looking good. Speedway chassis, we're getting started on that. Okay, let's go ahead and start the work plan. And boom, there's our short track chassis in bay number 2, 90, 95, and 90. Okay, so it's maximum. That's the best we're going to be able to get out of it for right now. And then our Speedway chassis is coming along quite nicely. And again, we'll come into employees next time and take our purse from Eldora. And we'll see if we can't do a little bit more training. So now let's back our way out. And Eldora, short track chassis, let's head to the track. All right, it is race time here at Eldora, and we qualified quite a bit better than I was expecting. We qualified 4th for this race. And it's going to be a long race. Again, 50% of the normal race distance that they would run in real life. So we got plenty of laps, so I was surprised by our speed. Let's see what kind of car we've got in actual handling in the race. Because again, I ran no practice laps. Alright, so we're going to go to the high side here and see if we can't stay out of trouble and make up a little ground at the beginning. Oh, look out. Little contact there. And that is certainly going to happen at a place like this. I just don't know any way around it. We try to avoid it as best we can, but there will be contact. Okay, so we're up into 2nd place, 19 laps in this first stage. And, well, one thing I can say is this car is rotating very nicely. All right, Try to slide job him a little bit and see if we can get established in front of him. And then we'll see what kind of speed he's got to come back on us. But for right now, I am extremely pleased with our speed. I did not expect to have this much speed.
Clear all around.
Oh, and we've got some temperature issues. That's one thing that I saw in the single race whenever I was doing some runs there. I'm running 0 grill tape, so I have no idea why this would be a thing. I am certainly not winding out the engine. So no grill tape, and we're not running a ton of RPM anywhere close to redlining it, so there's no reason for our engine to be overheating. Alright, so he is trying to get to our inside. Oh, it looks like we got lap traffic coming. Right, we're going to tuck in behind him here, and we'll start all over again. We're trying to get to his inside. I do not want to be stuck on the high side with this lap traffic coming. So that's why I gave way to him right there. So we'll see how this thing handles over the longer run once we get to the third stage. But for right now, we have a couple of short 19 lap stages or thereabouts. All right, looks like second place has gotten caught a little bit in lap traffic.
Got one outside now. Clear all around.
Trying to put as many trucks a lap down as we can, because most importantly, when it comes time for us to pit, we know we're probably going to come out last on the lead lap, so it's better for us to have many fewer cars on the lead lap.
Still there. Track's all yours, bud. You're clear.
All right, so we're lapping up to 24th.
Clear all around.
At this point, and of course, if we could pull off a victory here, not only in this stage but overall in the race, then that would give us a lot more playoff points, which we could certainly use a lot more of at this point in the season, since we're planning on competing for a championship. Ooh, Wendell Chavis decided he wanted to not give us any room there.
You're clear.
But we're not going to allow that. All right, lapping up to 20th now.
You're clear.
This is both really good and really bad. The point of this series was that we didn't get a lot of easy wins. Hopefully this won't end up being an easy win. But right now it's looking way too easy. I'm not sure why the AI is this slow, because I'm not running fast laps. It's not like I'm setting the world on fire with these lap times that I'm putting out there.
Still there. You got all the room you need. You're clear.
I could be, if I were good at this track and and all that, then I'm sure I could probably find a couple more tenths and get down into probably like the 3s or something, maybe even lower than that, who knows. But it certainly doesn't appear as though that's going to be necessary in this event. So I'm disappointed with the AI. This is certainly not what I'm interested in this series, but we're just getting started. This is stage 1, and I will tell you guys this. It is not beyond me not to post this race. I'm going to continue to record, and we're going to see how the race goes. Who knows? We might end up getting in a wreck and not getting a good finish at all. But if this ends up being a race that I'm not having fun with by the end, an easy victory, that kind of thing, then I will not hesitate to not post this, because that's not what this series is about. If we wanted easy victories, we could certainly do that. We've had multiple opportunities. We could have signed with a 5-star team and done all of that, but that's not what this series is.
Stay low. Careful. Still there.
All right, where are we as far as lapping? All right, I see Joe Nemechek. I know this is the second time I've lapped him. All right, there's 12th with Sargent. Yikes. But just to sort of put a period to that thought of, do I post this race or not post it? I'm probably going to post it simply because it's Eldora, and it's sort of a one-time deal for the trucks, and you don't get this in Xfinity or Cup. But my general rule is, if this sort of thing happens at most of the tracks, then I simply wouldn't post it. I would just tell you guys, hey, it was, you know, this wasn't fun. It was way too easy of a victory, and so we're just going to skip by it in the series. All right, so there we go. End of stage 1. We come home first. Of course, that gets us a playoff point, most importantly, but we also pick up 10 regular season points, which is very good for us. Okay, I don't think we're going to be pitting here. Oops. I was trying to skip by that. It was taking forever. All right, estimated fuel. Well, we don't have to worry about fuel, as you can tell. And tires are certainly not an issue, so we're not going to pit. Let's go ahead and advance to the green flag. And let's see, what do we have? 12 trucks on the lead lap?
Has the green flag. Be ready here.
And if that's the case, if we only had 12 on the lead lap, then even if we had pitted there, we'd have started not far from the top 10. So our goal here is same thing, maximize points. We got a little bit longer stage here, 22 laps. And we'll just sort of get out here and see what we've got. We've seen in the past, once you get to stage 3, these other trucks seem to get a little bit of speed. They get a little bit more competitive, so who knows? Who knows what we'll get at by the end of this race. But for right now, we certainly have a commanding lead. But right now, I'm basically trying to turn the wheel as little as possible. And the truck is rotating quite nicely. So I'm not struggling with the truck at all. I'm basically just trying to guide it around the track wide open for the most part. Every once in a while like that, it gets a little bit too loose, but overall, not too big of a deal. Yeah, that temperature reading there, again, some of these things, I'm not sure how they made it through testing, because when I was running some laps in the quick race mode on this track, I mean, I got that within just a couple of laps of practicing, so it's hard for me to believe that nobody got that same message when they were testing the game, because it happens pretty close to immediately whenever you get on the track.
Clear high, bud. All right, now you're clear.
All right, I don't see second place in our mirror, so it does appear as though we've got plenty of speed for him right now.
Careful, still there. Top lane free here. Use it if you need it. Top lane free.
Plenty of speed for him right now. About to outrun him. But the biggest thing is, all right, what are we lapping up to? Again, Matt Crafton in the back. That's certainly not what I was expecting to see. But I'm getting more and more used to seeing that, because we're seeing it at more different races. He's running closer to 20th than I would expect.
Car outside. Car outside.
All right, so here we are simply coming up on the back of the field, and we've now gotten them down at least 2, and in some of them probably 3 laps as far as I can remember. All right, Timothy Peters immediately in front in 20th.
Clear all around.
All right, Wendell Chavis again. See if he gives us any more room than he did last time.
Clear all around.
All right, yeah, no issues this time around. So we're basically halfway through the second stage. And once again, I'm going to try to lap as far into the field as I possibly can to help us out on this final pit stop.
Stay low. Still there. Track's all yours, bud. You're clear. All clear. Bottom lane's clear. Bottom lane is clear.
All right, now we're up to 15th place, Kligerman.
All right, careful now. Still there. Clear all around. All right, now you're clear.
Here's 11th place. All right, so we are just outside the top 10 for lapping here. That is,
You're all clear at the bottom.
again, in the grand scheme of things, that is not good. Because there's no way we should be this much faster than the AI. But, you know,
The outside now, outside.
at this point, we can't do anything about it. We just got to go with what we got. As they continue, hopefully continue, to work on the dirt stuff, to me, the dirt racing is just boring for the most part because you can run it wide open. I mean, I'm easily wide open here. The only time I've lifted at all has been when I was in some pretty heavy traffic. But other than that, I mean, I'm easily wide open all the way around the track, and the car just sort of, or the truck just feels sort of dead with the handling. I mean, it just doesn't, I'm not having to do a whole lot that I would expect to do on a dirt track in order to get these things to handle. I mean, this thing should be a handful to go fast, but it feels way too close to Daytona or Talladega to me. And I certainly know it's not my driving is just that good. And that part I know for sure. So I am certainly a long way from being an alien, that is for sure. All right, so there's 8th place, Johnny Sauter. See if we can get to his inside. And I would not have expected this at all. I didn't expect to have race winning speed or even close to it. When we qualified 4th, I thought, okay, maybe we can get up into the top 5 here for this race. And now here we are leading rather easily. All right, a couple more times around, and that should do it for stage 2. We'll pick up another playoff point if things continue for a couple more laps as they are. And we don't get in any wrecks or anything like that. All right, there's 7th place Infinger. As soon as I saw Infinger, I knew, I was like, okay, he's got to be somewhere among the leaders. And sure enough, he's in 7th. All right, last lap. Let's see if we can get to Moffitt, who is a big-time championship competitor. We'd love to put him a lap down right here and only have 5 trucks on the lead lap.
Clear all around.
And there we go. So stage 2, another much-needed playoff point, and of course 10 regular season points as well. That was kind of odd. It showed no points. Did I read that right? No points for 2nd through 5th? There we go. There we go. Now it clicks in there. Okay, so maybe it just took it a second to update. All right, so laps remaining, 31 laps. I mean, you can see our tires are basically perfect. And our estimated fuel is, well, let's just say plenty. So there's really no reason to pit. So we'll press B to not pit, and then A. All right, so now we have 6 trucks on the lead lap because of the free pass with Brett Moffitt.
Good day. Stay sharp.
So we are looking at a finish that is way too easy unless we have some issues and get in a wreck, probably. Or that overheating in the engine becomes an issue and we blow an engine or something. I don't think that's going to become an issue, but you never know. fairly loose there, but this thing has been a dream to drive. Look at that thing turn. If anything, a lot of times it turns a little bit too much. Alright, again, just trying not to turn the wheel a whole lot and get the car really loose. Like that. Got too aggressive there on corner entry, just playing around, trying some different things and just seeing what works, what doesn't. And once again, very quickly into the stage, we are coming up on lap traffic. I mean, this is not good. These guys are way too slow.
All right, now you're clear.
All right, so right now at this point, we're basically just hoping for no cautions, simply because,
Careful.
you know, let's get this thing going
Clear all around.
and get through this thing and move on. Because it certainly doesn't look like anybody's got any speed for us. So I'll go ahead and tell you, had I known about this ahead of time, like this, I might not have even recorded this race. Ooh, watch out!
All right, careful now. Still there.
But that's just me being aggravated at the game.
Clear all around. All right, clear high, bud. We got 24 laps.
But we're going to take the positives out of this, which are that... Oh, my sound just went away. I don't know if it did for you guys, but the sound in my game, everything just went silent. Lost all sound in the game, so don't know what happened there. That's the first time I remember that ever happening in each of the 3 years of this game. So let's hope that doesn't continue. And let's sure hope that we don't get any crashes, game crashes or anything, which fortunately for me is not something I've had to deal with out of this game in any of the 3 iterations so far in this franchise.
Careful, still there. Clear all around.
Woo, watch out. Alright, let's take a quick glance. How far are we ahead? Okay, so we're 4 seconds ahead. Almost 4.5 seconds ahead of second place.
Careful, still there. Top lane free here. Use it if you need it.
But then if you go back to 5th, I mean, we're, 13.5 seconds ahead. So there's a huge spread in these trucks from the front of the field to the rear of the field. Part of that is expected. The other is not expected to be quite this big of a gap.
Still there. All right, now you're clear.
At least not for this many cars. You always know that you're going to have a few trucks that are out there, single truck teams with very little money, and they're just trying to survive. You always know you're going to have a few of those, but I mean, at this point in the trucks, it almost seems like better than half the field is like that in some tracks. And we know that's not the case. But the haves and the have-nots have always been and will always be a thing in racing. Just like in the rest of life. You got the money, you can buy the technology and all the impressive goodies and strong engines and all that stuff. All right, there's Johnny Sauter again.
Stay on the bottom here for me. Still there.
All right, we are now almost 9 seconds ahead. All right, so let's get rid of that. We don't really need that leaderboard. I was curious, but that's just going to aggravate me more if I continue to leave that up there. Oh, look out. Well, Timmy Hill, that's exactly one of the ways that you can keep me from winning this race. Just dump me. That will do it.
Still there. All right, now you're clear.
All right, now we're up to John Hunter in 9th.
Concentrate for me.
All right, so I think he said 10 laps to go.
Stay low. Still there.
Ooh, watch
Clear
out.
high, bud.
All right, so far so good. A few tense moments here and there going through lap traffic, but nothing catastrophic to this point. Move around the track a little bit. I would love to run the high side here. That would be a lot of fun to do, but it's just not competitive, really. Not from what I've seen. It's just too easy to run wide open around the bottom
Clear all around.
to make the outside competitive. But as always, just like I say in all my setup videos, everything, your results
Clear all around.
may and probably will vary from the results I get whenever I use certain setups and race certain tracks.
Careful now. Still there. All right, clear outside.
All right, what do we got? 5.5 laps to go, I believe. You can see Infinger, slide job there on Forrester to clear him. Mid-corner.
Stay low. Stay low. Hang tight there, driver. Hold this line here. 5 to go. You got this. All right, now you're clear.
My spotter just cleared me, and I had been clear for more than a straightaway. Wow.
Hang tight there,
That
driver. Hold
is,
this line here.
that's terrible.
Clear all around.
That's terrible. Luckily for me, I knew I was clear because I could see that I had
Hang
passed
tight
the
there,
guy in the
driver.
mirror.
Hold this line here.
There's Stuart Friesen back in 17th. Given his background in racing on the dirt, I would not have expected to see that. He's one that you would expect to see up in the top 5 competing for victories. All right, there's Curry.
Careful. Still there. Clear all around.
And I believe that was Harrison Burton that we just passed
Couple
on
more,
the
sir.
outside. I caught a
Careful.
quick glimpse of him as we were going through the corner. We're seeing some pretty intense battles among these guys, but there's 4th place Haley.
Careful. Still there.
Unfortunately, none of these intense battles are with us in this particular race, so 1 lap to go.
Let's go. 1 lap. White flag is out.
Final trip around.
All right, now you're clear.
So we have lapped all the way up to the top 3. Yikes.
All right, clear outside.
And I do not want to pull up the leaderboard and see how far they are behind me.
Top lane straight.
All right, we'll bring home the victory. Not the way we wanted to do it, but kind of is what it is. So we will take it. Get those all important points. And wow, look at that. Look at that. Look at all the laps down that some of these guys were. Again, you expect to see a few of those, but certainly not this many. All right, let's go ahead and continue our way on through. How much money do we bring home? $28,000. We will certainly take that. $3,600 as our normal sponsor payout, and then $41 on the merch payout. We are killing it on the merch right now. Killing it. $41. Now, that gives us 2 victories, 13 playoff points, which we'll have to take a look at the playoff standings, which are going to be different than the point standings, to see where that stacks us up once the playoffs start, but we are looking much better than we were just 3 races ago, that's for sure. So we'll bring home the Dirt Derby trophy. Very nice. Always one that you'd like to have as a NASCAR driver. Okay, 19.57 as the fastest lap. Not terrible, but, you know, again, not blazingly fast either. So we'll go ahead and finish the event. And we'll get back to the main screen. That money's going to be big. We can do some more training with that. There we go. We've successfully completed our incentive contract. That's another $12,480. We will certainly be happy to take that. And let's see, what kind of Twitter response do we get? Looks like all good. Austin Hill, congrats on a clean and professional win at Eldora. I love it when a good driver gets a win. Thank you very much, Austin. Corbin, also you can see he is as far to the right toward being friendly as he can get. Nice win at Eldora, super fast and super clean. All right, this is the type of feedback we like to get. All right, no lucky charms needed when you are fast and super clean. Thank you, Mr. Greenfield. So we will take all of those, and our reputation's looking pretty good in the Truck Series. So let's see what's going to be next on the agenda. Looks like the Extreme Dirt Tour is headed to Richmond. So that'll do it for now. Thank you very much for joining me, and stay tuned as we will continue our Making It Fun Career Mode series in NASCAR Heat 3.